Welcome to the show. Oh, we got a lot to talk about today because Greg Sankey, SEC commissioner, he's saying the quiet part out loud. He said the messy future of college football. Nah, I'm going to explain to you what he really means between that. I'm going to read between the lines about what he means by messy. It means we're losing control. Marcus Freeman, head coach at Notre Dame. He got to talking about his team. JD Piquel asked him about the past and why they did not go to the bowl game. And I loved his accountability answer. And I'm going to show you why. Recruits love playing for him. Parents love playing for him. Why they don't get decommits and what's going right at Notre Dame. Dan Lanning over there at Oregon. He talks about the NIL because remember, there's a lot of people accusing Oregon of all sorts of things. Oh, they're buying all these players and all this. But when it comes to the $40 million rosters, they're never mentioned. So he's talking about NIL and the broken system and what should be done to fix it. So either he's a hypocrite or he's trying to be on the forefront of some change in college football. And I'll tell you which one it is. And also, Deion Sanders, he takes a major stray from his old quarterback, and we're going to get into is this fair or is this foul? And then we have the Big 12 win totals. Those we're going to go and predict who goes over, who goes under, who goes to the college football playoff, and everything in between. And then finally, it is top 10 time today. And it is our football movies of all time. So you guys make sure that you guys enjoyed that. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, tell a friend about the show, and get notifications. Go ahead and do it right on now. The way the show can continue to grow because we are out here doing big things. Before we get all the way into it, go visit Underdog Fantasy, where you have a chance to secure $50 in entries when you play your first $5 using promo code unafraid. And also the link is in the bio. Here's what we got today. So Greg Sankey, SEC commissioner, he talked about the future of college football. The future of college football, oh, it's messy. It's messy. And he's 100% right. It is messy for those who are in charge because it is very easy for him to look at and foresee the future. He knows that collective bargaining is likely coming. That means the SEC loses power. You're probably eventually going to have pooled media rights, which means that there's going to be negotiating with somebody else. Enforcement power is going to somebody else. So that's what he's saying. When these top college football commissioners are saying the future is messy, it's uncertain. Yes, it's uncertain for those in power right now. And he's saying we don't control what's going on right now. The NCAA and the conferences, they used to have the power. And now it's the courts and market forces which are driving everything that is happening. And they have to find a way to get back not on the offensive instead of being on the defense and playing from behind and trying to fix things that the courts have already done. So right now, the NCAA is essentially irrelevant when it comes to punishment. It is. It is an enforcement and anything else. No enforcement power, particularly about anything that actually matters. There's no unified rules. There's no legal protections for them. And the conferences are making their own rules, and so are the states. That's the biggest is that you have states making laws saying that you can't even investigate their schools in Missouri and Tennessee for violations. The schools haven't even signed the College Sports Commission, which is supposed to have enforcement power, so there's no enforcement power there. And this is what Greg Sankey is talking about because there's only one possible solution. I've said this over and over, and I'm hoping that people can hear it and fully invest in it. College football is an enterprise. It has to be led by one single entity. That's it, who is always going to do what is best for college football. That's it. Do what's best for college football, not what's best for the SEC or the Big Ten or the Big 12 or the ACC. No, you have to do what's best for everybody. And if that means raising the floor for other teams and shrinking the ceiling for other teams so there is parity and competition, because all that's going to do is that these lines, instead of having 28-point games in conference lines in conference games, those are going to go down to 10, 11, 12. Those are better. That means that you're going to have a bigger variance of outcomes, which makes quality television. Just telling you. And the SEC, and Greg Sankey knows, the SEC is also outside of the outside market forces. They are feeling that Big Ten pressure because all of this is not happening in a vacuum. The Big Ten has more money. Their schools do more living alumni at a few of the schools, a bigger footprint across the country, and stronger media leverage when it comes to Fox and all of that. Now, they don't have the ESPN, where ESPN has the majority of college football games as far as ESPN and ABC. And then they can control a lot of the narratives with the talking points and the people that they hire to be on television. But that's about it. The results on the field are showing that the Big Ten's a better conference. So he sees that. And just like when any of the other negotiations happened, the SEC was like, listen, we've done all of these things, so we should get more playoff spots. Now the Big Ten is like, we just won three in a row, baby, but you've had more playoff spots than we had. So maybe we need more playoff spots. And then the Big 12 and the ACC are like, hold on. What happens when we come along? See, this is why the floor needs to be raised for everybody. Ceiling needs to shrink for the other teams. And you're still going to have teams go undefeated, 1 loss, 2 losses, win a national championship. But you're going to have a bigger variance of who's able to do that, which is better for all of college football. All right, the next thing up, we had Dan Lanning got to talking about some of this. Oregon's head coach. He called out NIL enforcement. And I love this. And there are people at the rival schools like Washington, USC, who are responding to this. And they're sitting here wondering, they're like, oh my gosh, how is he going to talk about this? So that means that a choice has to be made. Either you believe on one hand that Dan Lanning is a hypocrite, right? But this is not what people say about him that know Dan Lanning, recruits, players, none of it. Other coaches. So you got to kind of throw that out the window. Or maybe he just wants to understand what the rules are and live under those rules. Because his point is, don't tell them that there are rules if nobody's following the rules. And then if nobody's following the rules, nobody's then enforcing the rules. So if you're a parent and you say, hey, kid, your curfew's 11 o'clock. Kid rolls in at 11:30. You don't even say anything. Kid rolls in at midnight. You're like, hey, you're supposed to be here at 11. Yeah, whatever. Kid rolls in at 10:30. At 11:15. Nothing said. Or you're like, yo, you got to be in the house at 11. If there are no consequences ever doled out, is anybody going to follow a rule that they don't want to follow? No, absolutely not. And the real issue is competitive integrity. You got $40 million plus rosters. Texas, Texas Tech, LSU, and a few other places. Ohio State, $40 plus million rosters. Compared to teams with $15 million rosters when the salary cap for everybody is supposed to be under $22 million. How does that work? And then you got the Big Ten out here. Think about this. I want you guys to see this, because this made me literally laugh yesterday. When I saw this article that I'm going to put up, I almost fainted. I almost fainted when I saw this. The Big Ten is let me move this. The Big Ten is pushing for a new roster retention carve-out that would allow schools to go over the cap in order to re-sign players. What cap? What cap are we referring to? What cap are we referring to? Because how is there a cap if Ohio State's got a $40 million roster? If Oregon's got a $29 million roster or $25 million roster, whatever it is. How's there a cap if LSU's got almost a $50 million roster? How is there a cap there? And they're trying to operate it like this is the NBA. It's like the bird rights. What bird rights? You're just signing players to whatever you want to sign them to anyway. Why on earth if there's no enforcement, how does this even matter? Come on, man. It is clear. And I almost fell out of my seat laughing when I saw that. Allowed them to go over the cap to re-sign their players. What? Now I get the intention of it, because the intention is that if you're staying within your $21.5 million, I think it is, for this year, for your revenue sharing for all of your sports, and then one of your players balls out and you need to re-sign him, then yeah, you can go over the cap. I get the premise. But when nobody's adhering to an actual cap right now, and they're using shoe companies, Learfield, and other companies and their corporate sponsors to sign multiple players to NIL deals to go over the cap, what are we talking about? And mind you, we're talking about pay for play that is masked as NIL. Two separate things. All right, next thing that we got to talk about, Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame head coach, was on with J.D. Pickell, and I love this. And the thing that he detailed here was exactly why recruits love him, why their parents love him, why Notre Dame isn't getting decommits right now, because this is an accountability program. He understands. Like, he's not doing what Texas did last year. Think about what Texas did. Oh my gosh, they left us out of the college football playoff. Maybe we should take uh Ohio State off the schedule. That's the reason why. Not the Florida loss, not your other loss. Nope, that's the loss that got you. Marcus Freeman understands that the Miami game and the Texas A&M game, losing those, kept them out of the college football playoff. Nobody else's fault. Nobody else's fault. Personal responsibility. And the USC game, they know that they got to beat USC. And now USC is off of their schedule. All right, so here's what Marcus Freeman had to say.
Everyone wants to ask about the way the season ended and the selection committee and all those questions.
Just blame somebody else for the situation that we were in. And I believe, like, you sleep in the bed you make, the God is fair, right? We left out. We left out. So don't blame somebody else for the situation that we were in, and know that, hey, we got to remember that as we continue to prepare for this year. There's certain times you pull that out, you remind them of the pain of that situation in that moment. But it's just a reminder that, hey, that we have to leave no doubt. In order to do that, you got to leave no doubt today. You have to leave no doubt in this moment that you're doing the necessary things to be the best version of yourself. And that means we are trying to be the best version of a team that we can be. And so, it's just every once in a while you reach back, but I think it's just a reminder to embrace the moment you're in. Like, that's how great things to me.
You know how good that is? You know how good that is? And refreshing it is to hear a head coach not try to blame everybody else. And then that forces Notre Dame's fan base to get in line, which is the most important thing. Because when you have a head coach, and I criticized Sark for this last year, who I think is a good head coach, so no knock against him as an actual person, but him complaining about not getting in the college football playoff and the Ohio State game, that then infiltrates your fans. Then your fans start complaining, blaming everybody else. But when the leader of the organization says, that's on us, we got to be better, you know what? Everybody's going to be better. That's just the fact that they are going to say, don't blame anybody else. And I love that. I love that, love that, love that. My kid can go play for a man like that. That's what you see out of a lot of the best coaches. Kirby Smart ain't gonna make no excuses. Dan Lanning's not gonna make no excuses. Kurt Singletti's not gonna make no excuses. Dabo Sweeney's not gonna make excuses. And those aren't the only coaches, but those are the ones that we see out in front and on the forefront the most. Ain't no excuses. Just like our old strength and conditioning coach Jimmy Ratcliffe used to say, no excuses, no messengers, no sympathy groups. That's what it is. All right, next thing up. Deion Sanders over at Colorado. He just took a major stray from his former quarterback, a kid he recruited out of high school. Well, that was recruited out of high school to Colorado. Deion gets the job. Stays committed. And this is a kid I've seen since he was in high school because he went to Sierra Canyon, left and went to West Ranch, played very well. And then he got a chance to play some last year for Colorado. Didn't work all that well, but now he's over at Tennessee. And he said something that it was a stray to the Colorado coaches. It was a stray to Deion Sanders. And we got to unpack it and tell you what this really means.
And I mean, in my 3 years of playing college football, I haven't had as much coaching as I've had in the first month that I've been here. So every time he pulls me to the side after a rep and talks to me about my feet or my base or the way my off arm was on the throw or whatever happened on the rep, I mean, it's cool. It's a lot of special coaching. I haven't been coached this much, and again, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can and improve.
That don't sound good, right? Now, on one hand, there's probably a little bit of player scorned, in there. It didn't work out at Colorado, but maybe he feels like the reason why it didn't work at Colorado because it was coaching. Deion Sanders has had so much turnover in the coaching staff, multiple offensive coordinators, and it is fair to look at the situation. And I'm a guy who wants Deion to be successful. I hope he does. I believe that he does his best to raise good men, to turn out good leaders, and that them becoming better people is actually even more important than football to him and trying to help them the best way that he can. I believe all of those things. I also believe that Deion Sanders' high school recruiting is going to be the death of the program. You can't just live in the transfer portal. You can't have a revolving door of coaches and players every single year. It is impossible to instill your culture. It is impossible to instill your beliefs in such a small period of time. Like, you need the majority of your roster there 4 years, 2-3 years, all of them, cycling through. That's how you keep your culture good. That's how you keep your everything good. So I love it. I could not be any happier about what he's doing in terms of off the field with the players, but on the field, Colorado has to have results. Their over under for their win total for this season is 4.5. 4.5. Do you realize how atrocious that is? That is atrocious. Atrocious. Especially going into year 4. They had success year 1, and then the bottom fell out. Then year 2, they were better, and then it didn't end well. In their bowl game, they got housed, and you had Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter playing. So it's one of those things where some of the criticism is fair. And I'm going to get called a Deion hater and everything else, but I told you all these good things about Deion. And this is where I believe we have to get to as a society and a culture and fandom and all of this stuff, is that on one hand, we can say, I support this guy, I like him. Support this team, I like him. Then on the other hand, yeah, this is an area of improvement that needs to happen. And if Deion Sanders fixes his high school recruiting and gets on the road, this dude can sell water to a well. He can sell ice in the winter. He can sell fire in hell. But You got to get in front of people to do that. And in recruiting, it's about building those relationships even more. And he's got to be able to close 20 some odd players in the high school recruiting class. Has to. And the majority of those offensive linemen, defensive linemen, because those top players don't hop in the portal very often. And it is hard to win when your big uglies are not big and ugly. All right, but you guys, we got so much going on here. We got the Big 12 rankings and win totals coming up. Oh, it is time for us to get into the Big 12 win totals and predictions for this year, the spring edition. But before we get to that, it is NCAA tournament time, and I know everybody's watching the games. You are rooting for who you're rooting for. I'm over here on my underdog fantasy account, picking my highers and lowers. I'm watching Arkansas. I'm watching Duke. I can't wait to see AJ over there at BYU because I can't wait to see who the biggest stars are going to be and who I can pick who's going to go higher on their points, their rebounds, everything. I'm super excited. And Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the action. Whether you're watching Duke with Cam Boozer, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties are back at Underdog, and it is the best place to do it. You can make 3 to 5 picks and win progressively more based upon how each pick performs. You can win a little on a decent night, win a ton on a great night, up to 250 times your money. Just go download the app today and use promo code UNAFRAID, and you're going to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5, and that is promo code UNAFRAID. The link is in the bio. All right, let's get to it, Ralph. So we got to do the Big 12 predictions. But before we get to it, I want to explain to you people, Ralph just gave me one of the worst takes of all time, I believe, and it involves high school recruiting. So everybody knows that, and if you don't know, here's an information for you. High school recruits are apparently using AI to increase their highlights, to make their highlight videos to look even better, look more spectacular, everything else. And go ahead, tell the people what you have said, Ralph. Tell them. Go ahead, tell them.
I'm seeing like a universal commentator condemnation.
Yes.
Of this idea that using AI to enhance your huddle highlights, your high school highlights, meant to get college football recruiters' attention is a bad thing. Couple of things on that. Number one, easy money. Everybody's going to retweet you. Everybody's going to agree with you. No one is arguing. No one's arguing. Also, your audience is not reading that. Your supposed intended audience, these high school kids, they're not reading that. It's just a bunch of coaches being like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? And everybody's retweeting and everybody's patting themselves on the back. If you're not good enough to play college football and you're a high school football player, lie. Go full George O'Leary to Notre Dame and just lie. There is no consequence that is going to dip below your reality. There's what's going to happen, George?
You get exposed on the internet and embarrassed.
This isn't like that kid who committed to Cal, put the Cal hat on and didn't actually have a scholarship. Who's going to
What's the difference? Ralph, you're sitting here lying about your highlights. You're putting something up and be like, my senior year highlights. That is a lie.
But you can't, it's not a crime.
Of course it's not a crime.
It's not any different than somebody who's 6'1.5" putting 6'4" on their max preps. There's no difference at all.
That's outrageous too. half an inch at the very most. Anything over half an inch, you are full of it.
But here's the deal: like, it is the recruiter's job to verify. At a bare minimum, lying and catching lies is going to help refine the process, make it better, make sure that lazy recruiters don't do as well, and the people who do their due diligence do better. I don't see any downside to this. Number one, it's funny. It's objectively funny to see somebody run a 2.840 on their huddle highlights. That's hilarious. More of that, please. Number two, if you are not going to go to college to play football because you are not good enough, you're still not going to go to college to play football because you're not good enough. But you might waste somebody's time. You might have a funny story later in life. Number three, if you pull this off, then you get your foot in the door. You give yourself an opportunity. You're Frank Abagnale from Catch Me If You Can. If it's a situation where somebody could get hurt, you should never lie. If it's a situation where you're just like trying to trick the system, that is pretty standard for the process of how people get recruited. You hear all these stories all the time of like how a band got discovered. You know, like I think there was a story about No Doubt, like they bought their own music video to be played on local TV. They got a $10,000 investment and then they just paid for their own video to get played over and over and over again until people got used to the song.
So okay. Let's say I bite on this.
Okay.
Is there any difference? Because what my dad did in 1998 was, or 97 was, he would, mind you, I was playing extremely well. Okay. Playing extremely well. He would call the newspaper and be like, and pretend to be coaches and say, hey, yo, there's this kid at Silmar, bro. He's killing it. Have you seen him? So I had features in the paper like damn near every single week. In each
That's how
Donald paper.
Trump. That's how Donald Trump stayed in Page Six in New York. He would call as his own publicist. And he'd be like, "You see who Donald Trump's dating?" They'd be like, "Isn't Donald Trump married? Oh, his wife's old news. He got this girl on his arm. He got that girl on his arm." That's how he stayed in the news. Now,
yes, but then when you turned on the film, it was legit though, Ralph.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But you can't accidentally become president. You can't accidentally become you might be able to accidentally become president if you're Donald Trump and you're getting your name in Page Six every day, but you can't accidentally become the quarterback at Alabama.
I agree, but this is I can't even believe you. Okay. Well, let's.
What's the harm? What is the harm? You're not good enough.
What if you're close to good enough? What if you're close to good enough? Like you're if you are a kid that's going to go FCS and then you inflate your highlights, so now you end up at, Boise State, or you end up at UCF, or you end up at Houston instead.
Then you're on a 1-year deal. They've expanded scholarships to 105. Only 45 people play. Nobody gets hurt. You get some free meals out of it. You get a fun story. What is the worst possible thing that could happen?
That you get your position coach fired.
If he's not doing what he's supposed to in recruiting, there's somebody who come along who will.
He did. He watched the film. He's like, yo, this looks great on film. This kid, all the measurables, he looks physical. He looks blah, blah, blah. Let's offer him. Come on, bro. I can't even believe this.
Okay, but you got to look at the quarterback position. There's a lot of people who don't believe in quarterbacks who end up playing way above their station. If Josh Allen had doctored his film, because he emailed every coach in the country, and only one responded, Craig Bowl at Wyoming. If he had doctored his film and accidentally got the attention of Oregon,
it would not have worked out for him because he was big and inaccurate. So he needed to go to Wyoming. He needed to go to Wyoming.
All right. Well, I'm glad it worked out that way.
Become what he was. It worked out perfectly for him. Stop trying to manufacture results. Anyways, all right. Our Big 12 rankings based upon the win totals. So we're going to give you the overs and the unders. But first, we want to show you the Big 12 rankings. And we're going to give you all the explanations for how it turned out. So, as we present it, here you go here. So, Ralph, they're getting a chance to see it now. And I know that people are freaking out. But before that, we will explain to you how we got here. Well, how I got here. Ralph will probably shoot holes in a lot of this. But first up, the team over and under their win total this year, Ralph, is 11 and a half. 11 and a half. And there's a lot of people who are upset about this because they're talking about Texas Tech's schedule is not that great. But overall, though, I find it very interesting, the win totals, Ralph, because you got 11 and a half, and then nobody at 10 and a half, 9 and a half, and then a couple of 8 and a halves. What does that say about the Big 12?
That it took in too many Pac-12 teams, and the snake eating its tail lives. That's what it says to me.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so let's get into it. So first team, Texas Tech. They are predicted to go. They got 11 and a half, Ralph. 11 and a half.
Okay.
And their toughest game is going to be at, I don't even know where, Ralph. At where? Like, what game could Texas Tech possibly lose? Because they are one of these $40 million rosters. They got Abilene Christian, Oregon State, Houston, Sam Houston State. Sam Houston, Colorado, Arizona State, Cincinnati, Arizona, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and TCU. Ralph, it does not feel like there is any team that they can lose to outside of like Arizona State, maybe?
And even then, they're playing at home in Arizona State. The last time they went out there, they lost to Kiki Coty.
Yep.
Fantastic schedule. Just could not have lined up any better for them. This has the potential to be a very, very special season. 11 and a half is a lot, to the point where I wouldn't actually put any of my money on it.
Yes.
But if you had to say, they absolutely have the chance to have 12, 13 wins this season. And yeah, the addition of Brendan Sorsby is cool, but let's remember they got an entire running back room full of sophomore studs.
Yeah.
Cameron Dickey is one of them. Cameron Dickey was a monster in high school on both sides of the ball. The physicality that he runs with, to see Texas Tech running the ball like this, from Taj Brooks to Cameron Dickey, and even Quentin Joyner is going to be in that room this year. They're going to be so good. This schedule lines up so well. Even if they do have to travel, they run the ball well. I don't think a ton of it's going to be on Brendan Sorsby, even though they forked up the money to make sure that he was their guy. I don't think they actually needed to do it with this schedule, this roster, but they're planning for a deep run in the college football playoffs. So maybe it makes sense to drop $6 million on a quarterback.
Yeah. And truthfully, they're in a good spot to go back to back Big 12 champs. And I don't think that there's anybody that can really contend with them. Is that fair? Outside of the team that is picked to finish second, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can run the ball and keep it close, then you can compete with them. But they're great at home, and they're going to be physical, and they're going to be fun. It's going to be tough.
All right, the next team up is BYU, Ralph. BYU, their over under for their win total is 8.5. This feels, until you look at their schedule, it feels a little bit disrespectful, because they do have Notre Dame on the schedule, and Notre Dame's win total for the year is 11.5, right? So you're looking at BYU, and how do we find wins, Ralph? How do we find, well, because I got them at 9 wins and the over, but they could get to. I think they could get to 10 wins, but I do think that Utah game, Arizona State, that those could be tough games. And Arizona too. Arizona cannot be slept on.
I agree with you. The thing that makes this BYU team potentially special to me is their offensive line. I think the youngest O lineman going into the season for them is going to be 22. I think they have the potential to start 4 redshirt seniors. They're big. They run the ball well. Bear Bachmeyer picks up first downs by any means necessary. They're going to be missing Parker Kingston. He's not coming back. And so big playability could be the thing that puts them in a situation to lose a game here and there if you're down late in the game. But we saw Bear Bachmeyer work some clutch magic last year. So at this point, I think you got to buy in on BYU being a really good challenger to that win total. And I think it would just be sensible to pencil them in if you're making predictions to have a rematch in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. This feels like a 2-horse race. But the interesting thing about the Big 12 though is that you've had pretty much a surprise team kind of pop up and be good every single year. So we'll see what we get out of that. All right, the next team that we have up is the Utah Utes, Ralph. The Utah Utes. Now, now their win total is 8.5. Now, originally, we had them at 8-4. Well, sorry, at 9-3. But now I think that 8-4 is probably more realistic. I think that they're going to have tough games against Arkansas, uh, BYU, um, Arizona, and TCU. I think that those are going to be their biggest challenges over there at Utah. And they got a new head coach, first time head coach in Morgan Scalley. I don't think that that's going to necessarily go perfectly in his first year. And I think that that's going to create a little bit of a rub for them.
My issue with Utah this year, and where I think they could really possibly fall apart, is it is very Utah to keep things in the family, right? Kevin McGiven as an offensive coordinator hire, I don't think matches the innovation that they brought in last season. I think that the innovation that they brought in last season served Devin Dampier well. It served that team incredibly well. And if Kevin McGiven is coming in and he's trying to be traditional or even vanilla, then they're going to be in trouble. They got to make use of the talent that they have on this team, especially at quarterback. So I'm very, very worried. I'm very worried about Utah's offense, but I think their defense is going to keep them in a ton of games.
Yeah. This Utah team, they're obviously and clearly a very good football team, but when you get down to it, there's so much change happening. So much change happening. Yeah, like I think that it is naive to look at them and think that losing Kyle Whittingham in terms of being a leader and everything else, that that's not going to have a significant impact on this team.
Agreed.
Next team up, the Arizona Wildcats. Their over under for their win total is 7.5. We like them at 9, Ralph. We like them at 9. And I could not be any more excited about this team because you know who nobody's talking about? Nobody's talking about Noah Fafita at quarterback. When people putting out their top quarterback list, nobody is talking about Noah Fafita. It's like that the 2024 season when they lost their head coach Jed Fish, when they lost T-Mac and some other Ephesians Price Sock and Jonah Coleman and all them dudes. that they forgot what happened the year before. And then a year of adjustment, a year of getting better, and now Noah Fafita, Ralph, should be talked about. And this schedule, to me, is pretty manageable. They get out, so they got Northern Arizona and NIU and in the preseason. Those are winnable games. And Northern Illinois just lost their head coach. Then they play Washington State. Now that game's in Pullman, and they're going to be facing a little jitterbug quarterback in Caden Pennick, who transferred from UC Davis. But then Cincinnati at West Virginia, Iowa State, Texas State. Like this feels like a team that can get out of there, Ralph, with either 9 wins or 7 wins. Like there doesn't, because if they lose, because it is possible to lose to Utah, Kansas State could be better. Arizona State, they end the season on a 5-game run. Like they could be 7-0 and then finish 9-3.
Yeah, my thing with University of Arizona is if you believe the complaints that people had about Indiana, they're like, oh, we just can't be out here competing with these 23, 24-year-olds. Arizona got some age on this team. Ismail Mahdi is a redshirt senior. Chris Hudson is still on this team, George.
What? Wait, Chris
Yeah.
Hudson that went to Oregon?
I think so. I think
Jeez
he's
Louise.
got another year of eligibility. Javin Watley, who we talked about as one of our number 1 most underrated players last year coming in the transfer portal. I thought he only had 1 year of eligibility left. He's still listed here on the depth chart, and they've got some extremely talented players like Trey Spivey. Offensively, I think they're going to be really good. The entire left side of the offensive line is mature. They got some tight ends that have a ton of experience. Noah Fafita started probably more games than anybody in the Big 12. They're going to have consistency in their system from year to year. The real question with this team comes down to, are they able to replace what they lost defensively, especially in that defensive backfield? But they've moved to running the, even with somebody who traditionally runs the 3-3-5 there, they got multiple defenses. They can adjust. I'm a huge fan of Danny Gonzalez. They could be a very, very dangerous team, or they could have one injury at quarterback and fall off a cliff. So the variance in this team, I think, is huge, but the maturity on offense is going to make this a very, very explosive roster.
Totally agree. All right. Now I want to go over to Arizona State, because Arizona State, obviously, they were the darlings a couple seasons ago. Last year, well, when they made the college football playoff 2 years ago, last year, devastating injuries all over the place, and particularly at quarterback. And you lose Sam Levitt. He hops in the transfer portal. Now you're getting Cutter Boley over from Kentucky, and you hope he's your starter, I guess, right?
Yeah, they got Mikey Keene if it doesn't work out. I mean, they've tried to make sure they have a high floor.
Yeah. So with 6.5 being the over under, Ralph, it's hard for me because they do have Texas A&M, which I do believe that's probably going to be a win for Texas A&M. But if they beat Texas A&M, all bets are off for the rest of the season. All bets are off. So I'm actually hoping that does happen, because I want Kenny Dillingham, who just had another baby, to be successful, because he wanted to stay at Arizona State. So would Arizona State fans be happy with an 8-4 season this year, Ralph?
It depends on whether or not the offense looks ugly, like it did for a lot of the time last year. When you say like, oh, we're going to have, we had Sam Levitt, who was getting a lot of hype, not necessarily the hype you and I bought into as far as him being the number 1 quarterback in the country and potentially a first-round pick. But he did play well. He took him to a college football playoff. There was a lot of hype there. And then you combine that with having probably the number 1 receiver that's going to get taken off the board, a top 3 offensive tackle that's going to get taken off the board, and the offense looked like garbage last year. So as long as the offense looks functional and they continue to play like heroes at home, I think that the fan base will be happy. Now, if they go off to London and they come back confused and out of sorts and struggle against Baylor or struggle against Hawaii, then the fans are going to be really upset. But there's so many players on this team, and I feel like even close to the situation, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if Amarion Miller is going to be the guy at wide receiver. You don't know who's going to play quarterback for them. You don't know which running back's going to step up. Hopefully the defensive line, which is not healthy going into spring, is healthy going into the season. Brian Ward is taking kind of a more hands-off CEO approach to the defense. He's been fantastic, but what adjustment, how will that affect it? To me, this is the biggest mystery team, and it's the team I'm closest to. You just really don't know who's going to be on the field, and you want to trust Kenny Dillingham to make it all work. However, last year the offense just at times looked lost, and then they'd have performances like a 250 yards rushing out of Jeff Sims, or Jalen Moss in the bowl game going for 150 yards in the first half. They have it in them. Can they be consistent? A huge mystery in this team. I think the fans would be happy with 8-4 if the offense isn't dysfunctional.
6.5 as their win total feels like a layup to me. I would take this. I would smash this. This feels like found money right here. Next team up, the Baylor Bears, Ralph. The Baylor Bears. They are going to likely have DJ Lagway as their starting quarterback. I put him on the potential transfer portal list this year. I'm looking at this list, Ralph, and I'm like, all right, Auburn game in Atlanta is going to be tough. Arizona State, TCU, BYU, Texas Tech, possibly UCF. And I mean, what if Colorado? This has, and if Kansas is any better, Ralph, this has 6 wins written all over it to me. 6 or 5. This feels like an easy under to me for Baylor. And that means that this is going to be the end of Dave Aranda's tenure there.
We've been saying that, but he hangs on and he hangs on. So the real question for me is the marriage of Jake Spavital and DJ Lagway. Jake Spavital has a lot of credits. He helped Jared Goff be a number 1 overall pick. He got a lot of success as a college football play caller, as a quarterback whisperer, whatever you want to call him. This group of receivers isn't enough, George, because I don't think it's going to be more talented than what DJ Lagway had at Florida, but I don't think some of that stuff was DJ Lagway's fault, it looked like. But Josh Cameron, Cole Wilson, Ashton Hawkins, that was a decent group in 2025 for Sawyer Robertson, but they're getting Draylon Miller from Colorado. They're getting Gavin Freeman from Oklahoma State, Hardly Gilmore from Kentucky. Can they all mix in time to be an effective offense in 2026? And then the big question is, who is responsible for this defense? It sucks lately.
Ralph,
and so you don't want DJ Lagway to have to throw you back into a game.
No. Ralph, I'm looking at one game. What one game that is on this screen is going to dictate their entire season? That could either throw it completely off the rails early.
Colorado at home.
Yep. If they lose to Colorado at home, it's over. It's over. The fat lady is gonna be singing, and like she will be singing show tunes. She'll be up there. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime. He'll be up there. It will be a disaster if that happens. So yeah. Next up, a team I'm excited about. 6.5 over under for them, their win total, Ralph. They were a disaster last year. A disaster, but they get Drew Mestamaker, and we're talking about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Ralph, I love the over at 7 wins here. They're going to lose to Oregon in the non-conference, but then Houston is going to be tough because they got a quarterback. Defense is very good there. Iowa State they should beat Iowa State. And then you got Kansas State, West Virginia. Ralph, they might be able to find 8 wins this year. Might be able to find 8 wins because they got Tulsa, they got Murray State. Those are wins. Think that they're going to beat UCF, beat Colorado, beat Iowa State. That's 5 wins already. Beat Kansas. That's 6. And then they should be able to take down West Virginia. And if this feels like 7 wins to me, Ralph.
How quickly we forget that Oklahoma State won for a very long time.
Yes.
And they were competitive in the Big 12 for a very long time. And the thought was when Oklahoma and Texas left the Big 12 that Oklahoma State would be next up. Unfortunately, Mike Gundy didn't necessarily adapt fast enough. This fan base is energized and excited for a new era, and they have a hell of a quarterback at the helm. I don't see him getting to 8 wins, but 7 is within reach for sure.
It's amazing how 1 year of being sorry can just change everybody's perception about you totally. And just
and they get voted number 1 in 2024 and then go 0-9 in conference. And it's, and then all of a sudden people are like, they've always been bad. No, they're like Florida State. They should have a much higher floor than they've displayed.
Yes. Next team up, TCU, Ralph. So their win total is 6.5 as well. I will feel like I am excited about their week 0 game against North Carolina, because the thing that people didn't understand about North Carolina last year, amongst all the Bill Belichick should be fired and everything else because of his personal life stuff, which I thought made everything unstable and everything else. But this defense was good. And that's the side of the ball that he is good at. And then when you look at bringing Bobby Petrino over as offensive coordinator, they're going to score points. So they are going to be better on offense. Like, there's no possible way that they are as bad as they were last year. So if you put a good defense, and I know that they graduated some players, but if you put a good defense together with a competent offense, North Carolina is going to get to 8 games probably. This is going to be a competitive football team with North Carolina. So TCU season and their trajectory, a lot of it is going to be based upon this North Carolina game. They got to get this game.
That is going to be so interesting for the simple reason of you're going to have a Harvard quarterback in Jaden Craig going up against a Bill Belichick coached defense, and we'll see who's smarter. Right? Like, we'll see. And I'm assuming Jaden Craig gets that starting job because they brought him over and he's had a lot of success in the Ivy League. This is a big step up, but I feel like we'll know right away whether or not they have a functional quarterback. And I don't imagine Sonny Dykes not being able to move the ball, but I feel like Sonny Dykes is in the position that a lot of these Big 12 coaches are in this year. You're probably on your last legs if you don't do something to impress, and that includes Cincinnati and Baylor and several others, in my opinion, are gonna, I think we'll know this year whether or not Rich Rod is going to work in West Virginia, because he has fully retooled that entire roster in a matter of 2 years. So I think that this game matters a lot for Sonny Dykes' future and for TCU's season. If they come out and they look bad, they get dominated, Jaden Craig doesn't look like he can play at this level, who knows? We might be in interim.
So do you like the over on the 6.5?
I think they'll be just a shade under. I don't have a ton of faith in this team, and but maybe Jaden Craig is the answer. We'll see.
Yep. All right, Cincinnati, Ralph, 5.5 wins for the Bearcats. And obviously the Boston College game is going to tell a lot about this football team, because Boston College and Bill O'Brien, they were Oh my gosh, bro! That was not a good football team last year. At the end of the season on CW, Ralph, we had Boston College versus Syracuse. Syracuse with no quarterback against Boston College. It was atrocious. It was just it was horrendous football.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I got I got Cincinnati under the 5.5 wins at 5 wins. But obviously, they're going to have some help with Western Carolina and Miami. They should win both of those games. But they could mess around and well, Miami of Ohio lost their head coach, which because no. That was Ohio that lost their head coach, right? With
Yes.
the
Little,
Sharoneyisms
little
with the
hotel tryst.
Sharonism.
Yeah.
Yes. So so they got to get Western Carolina and Miami, obviously, and then from there, bro, this is not easy. This is tough sledding. You might get a break at Iowa State and Colorado, but yeah, I think it's gonna be hard for them to get six wins this year.
Yep, I think we are just 5 or 6 months away from getting the Jason Kelsey to Cincinnati
No
head
way.
coaching rumors for clicks. For clicks, not out of real, but I think we'll see some article. Maybe we'll be the one to put the article out.
Yeah. The next team up, Ralph. This is actually sad. Their over under is 5.5. But this has been a much better team than that because of their head coach, and now he's gone, and that is Iowa State. I do not see a world where Iowa State can win more than 5.5 games. The Fighting Eddie Georges over at Bowling Green could be an issue for them. They're going to lose to Iowa. West Virginia running the football is probably going to be tough. They're not going to beat BYU or Arizona State. Baylor and Cincy could be toss-ups. UCF could be a toss-up. There's nothing about this schedule, Ralph, for Iowa State, considering that they lost like 50 players to the portal. And yes, you got some Washington State kids come down, and a good coach probably, but this ain't it. This is not it.
I'm looking forward to Iowa State being complete garbage this year. I have been waiting 20 plus years for revenge over head coach Jimmy Rogers, who coached my rival, my high school's rival, or not coached. He quarterbacked my high school's rival to or no, he was not the quarterback, but he was on my high school's rival and won them a championship in their 5th year of existence. Meanwhile, we had to wait like 100 years to get a championship, and it kicked off them beating us 17 times in a row. He was, I think, a one-time teammate of Terrell Suggs, and so just a little high school football rivalry that Jimmy Rogers isn't even aware of between me and him.
He doesn't even know you're mad, and he don't even know about it.
No, he has no idea. But I do believe 2026 is going to be the tax for making me jealous for the last 2 decades.
All right, so next team up, the Kansas Jayhawks, Ralph. Kansas Jayhawks. First thing is, I want you to pay attention to their schedule. They have more named games than anybody has had. Their over-under is 5.5. Actually, hold up. To go back for a second. Iowa State, 5.5. I got them under at 4 wins. Where do you have them at?
Under.
Okay.
4. I think 4 would show that Jimmy Rogers is a very good coach for what they have this year.
Yeah. Kansas over their total is over 5.5 wins. I got them at 6 wins, Ralph. I got them at 6 wins. And isn't it crazy? Lance Leopold was like, he was a hot name in coaching a couple years ago. Loses his offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki. Andy Kotelnicki goes to Penn State. Nobody likes what's going on there. And now he's back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they got the band back together. That he's not the de facto offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be a co-OC type deal. They have the game in London. This is what I worry about when it comes to Kansas football is that they're a lot like Baylor or some of these other teams that were historically booty juice and just terrible for a really long time. And they got hot and they were able to get investment. But I do wonder if it would have been better if Lance Leopold took one of these 15 jobs that he was supposedly tied to, because then they can get somebody in who can, envision shepherding it to the next level. Did Lance Leopold catch lightning in a bottle, or are they going to be resilient, or were they kind of beholden to loyalty to the Jalen Daniels experiment over time? Are they going to be able to bring in a quarterback who can get them to the next level? We're going to find out in London. We're going to find out with the SEC game early in the season. We're going to find out at Rice-Eccles Stadium on October 10th. They could legitimately be 1-3 heading into a rivalry game with Kansas State. If they're 2-2, then anything's possible. If they're 1-3, then the wheels might fall off this season.
I totally agree. But the one team I think that in the Big 12 that we talked about already that wheels could fall off this year is Utah. But because there's so much change, like the variance on what they could be is so big of a difference.
But they're not playing like garbage at Rice-Eccles, I don't think.
Yeah, correct. All right, but I do want to point out Kansas has the Border Showdown with Kansas, the Union Jack Classic. I don't know how it's a classic. It's the first time it's happening over in London, and then they got the Sunflower Showdown.
Yeah, and I guess they can't be 1-3 because they got LIU and Middle Tennessee, but we'll see how things go for the Jayhawks.
Yeah. All right, a team that I'm not excited about at all, and it could be because I'm not excited about their head coach at all. And I'm going to be honest. There is a little bit of me here that it's because of the coach, where like sometimes when you are excited about a coach and his potential, you get, like you might overestimate a team a little bit. And the same works in underestimating a team. So we got UCF under 5.5 wins. And UCF decided to spin the block with their head coach that left them high and dry. And then when he didn't have anywhere else to go, he was like, yo, I'll come back. In Scott Frost, when he said, I took the wrong job at Nebraska. All right, well, let's see what you do with UCF again. Because last year it was just all right. And now you got, a 5.5 win total, which I'm taking the under. I think that outside of Bethune-Cookman, Pitt is obviously going to be tough. Georgia State, they could lose that game. Then they got TCU at Houston, at Oklahoma State. Both of those are going to be formidable teams. BYU, no chance. Baylor, who knows? Kansas, iffy. But then Arizona State, yeah, they better hope that Iowa State and Colorado are bad.
They didn't need consistency at quarterback. They have 4 guys start last year. And aren't they getting Alonzo Barnett for like his 15th year of college football?
Oh, from James Madison, the quarterback.
Yeah, I think that should bring them some stability if that's the case. But they've had so much movement at quarterback since they had their 13-0 run. It's been insane. I mean, I think about the fact that they at one point had our guy from Florida State. They at one point had Mikey Keene.
Mikey Keene has been everywhere right now.
He has. They've Ohio's starter Parker Navarro, who balled out the last couple of years and I think got denied another year of eligibility. He was at UCF at one point. Your guy Dylan Gabriel was at UCF at one point. They've never really had that consistency or that stability, and it looks like they might be on a 1-year rental this year. But what they really got to worry about is that early season trip to Pitt. Because if things look ugly right out of the gate, then that's a passionate fan base They don't like to be embarrassed. They expect to be functional by year 2.
Yes, yeah, and fun, and that's the thing that I think that people have to remember is that it's not always winning that makes people, excited at the beginning of a tenure. A lot of times it is looking competent. That they're like, okay, I can see that this is better. That we would normally get blown out in these games, but now instead of it being us losing by 3 touchdowns, we lost by 7, lost by 9, and then field goal game and stuff like that. Those are the signs of progress. All right, now how about the progress for West Virginia and Rich Rod? Their over under is 5.5 wins. Well, actually, first, Ralph, UCF over under 5.5 wins.
I think they'll be under.
Okay, West Virginia 5.5 wins, over or under?
I like them over. I think Rich Rod has turned over this roster so much. I don't love that I feel like he found a quarterback in Scotty Fox by the end of the year last year. I don't like that he recruited over him, but the pressure is there to win. He's very serious about it. The guy collects running backs like Thanos collects Infinity Stones. At one point, some of these guys got to work out. The offense is going to score points. You know that that's true. The fact that they get to host Arizona is huge. And the trip to Charlotte to play Virginia we're going to see. We're going to see if I don't know if they had the NIL investment to be able to compete with Virginia, who does have money right now. But if they win that game, there's going to be a ton of hype around this team because that if they're winning and scoring, but it doesn't matter if you win 60-50 as long as you're getting wins.
That is, because that at least gives you time to fix things.
Yeah.
Time is very important. You just need to buy some additional time. All right. The last Big 12 team. And Ralph, 2 years ago, could you imagine that we would have talked about this team last in the Big 12? Like if we were doing a Big 12 video, is there any way that this team, that the Colorado Buffaloes, would be the last team that we talked about?
Some very specific things would have had to go wrong, and I think we would have outlined those things. We would have said that it's unlikely, but in that process, every single thing has kind of gone wrong in just not being able to hang on to players, not being able to deliver on promises, not being able to get good high school players in for good reason, not being able to have consistency at position coaches or have people who are legitimized in the eyes of college football want to come work for you. So you have to go after guys who are trying to get their first shot or guys who, had a cup of coffee or were really, really good in the NFL. All of those things would have had to occur. And it feels like that's what was happening. Why their entire wide receiver room would bail. I mean, they got Danny Scudero. That's a monster, but it's a 5'9" monster. Why is everybody leaving? Why don't people want to stay? Why did Ryan Staub go to who's the quarterback that went to Tennessee and immediately said, I got more coaching here in a month than I got in the last 3 years.
Ryan Staub.
Yeah. And it just feels like every bad possible thing that could have happened is happening.
Ralph, okay, so when Deion originally said, I don't go on the road recruiting because I don't, if I go to one high school, somebody's mad and this. First of all, he doesn't care about pissing people off. That's the truth. So either one, and Deion is not a lazy person. So either one of two things is true. Either Deion Sanders' health issues, because he's had blood clots, and if you're flying all over the place, that can become an issue. So either he doesn't want to specifically say that my health doesn't allow me to do this, okay? Or he just doesn't want to do it. Because the best coaches in college football beat the streets. They go visit recruits, they do home visits, all of this stuff. There is no way to sustain success in college football without high school recruiting. There aren't enough good players that come out of the portal every year. in terms of you being able to rebuild a roster every single year. There's too much in and out the door with coaches and there's too much. They need stability.
Mm,
And if and then the guy who hired Deion, Rick George, he's out at AD.
yeah.
So now you wonder, like you hear the numbers, how much money is being generated in Boulder because of Deion. They're sold out, all of this stuff. But at some point in time, the money's going to fall off because you're not winning. It
Yeah.
can be all the hype, pomp, and circumstance surrounding it, but you don't have any household names there right now.
Agreed.
And so you're not going to get the level of attention that then attracts recruits. Ralph, this is the gotcha year for Deion Sanders. He has to win. He has to win. Their over under for this year is 4.5 wins, bro. And I'm struggling to get over there. Like, I want Deion to be successful.
And Brandon Marion.
Yes. But Georgia Tech, bro, Georgia Tech is lining up and knocking chin straps loose. You lost your defensive coordinator. You lost Warren Sapp. You lost the running backs coach, Marshall Falk. And I'm not saying that those are necessarily the best coaches in the whole world, because they might not have been. I don't know. I wasn't in the room. But what I do know is switching up coaches all the time and retooling your roster every single year is not a recipe for success. So, Ralph, 4.5 wins. Where do they find wins at?
I don't see them. I really don't. They're going to beat Weber State. They'll probably beat Cincinnati. But this might be his third 3-9 campaign, George.
And if that's the case, do you keep Deion if you are Colorado?
I think he'd move on.
Out of pride?
Maybe. Yeah. Out of pride or out of just self-preservation. You don't want to, you don't want to go south. Like he's got enough to worry about. Got a sons in the NFL. He got everything he ever worked for is there for him to just enjoy. He's had health issues. I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
He got a little public together. That's fine.
He got a little Geico walk around money or Aflac. Yeah.
So I'm hoping this works. I just don't see a way it works. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. All right, that is the Big 12 rankings. Oh, excuse me. Let's rephrase that. That is the Big 10 win totals and predictions for this year. We will get some more stuff later on with our preseason rankings as the season gets closer. But that's where we're at right now, because obviously things shake out in the spring. We're going to see what happens in the portal, everything else. But make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the show. And up next, it is top 10 time. You do not want to miss this. Top 10 time football movies of all time. Let's get to it. It is top 10 time today on the show. This time we got top 10 football movies of all time. We are going to rank them 1 to 10. I'll go first. Ralph will go second until we get up to 10. And these are the 10 best movies. Now, mind you, I do want to explain to you the rules. These are football movies. But apparently, according to what Ralph has told us, he has taken some liberties with this. I guess the same way that people feel like Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which it is. Gremlins is a Christmas movie, which it is. So I'm going to allow some leeway here. But are you excited and are you ready to go, Ralph?
Yeah, I am. This actually made me very nostalgic and actually kind of sad because we don't make football movies anymore. They used to make a lot of football movies. There's 32 football movies. Some of them were musicals made between 1930 and 1939. You know how many football movies we got in the last 10 years, George?
Not very many.
2.
What are they?
2 football movies in the last 10 years. And one of them, I would love to know if this runs afoul of your rules or not, is 80 for Brady.
Man, 80 for Brady. I actually liked 80 for Brady. I
Yes.
will count that as a football movie. That
And
made
the
me
other
that
one
made
was
me
the
smile.
other one was the Kurt Warner story. The only football stuff they make now are like 30 for 30s and documentaries and
Yeah.
stuff.
I saw that too. I enjoyed the Kurt Warner movie too. So mind you, Ralph does not know my list. I do not know Ralph's list. I'm going to start it off because the greatest football movie of all time must be acknowledged. Remember the Titans. Left side, strong side. It is a movie about overcoming. There's plenty of football in it. It is got quotable lines. You got quotable characters. It is just an absolute gem of a football movie. Greatness. It gets no better than that.
That's a perfect 1-1. And Ryan Gosling going on the New Heights podcast this week and acknowledging that he is a liability at corner might be one of the best clips in the history of the internet. So I will give you that one. My number one is Varsity Blues, and it's not that it's the best football movie ever made. It's nonsense. It was really made for the kids who were sitting around watching TRL after school, the MTV generation. In fact, I think that's who it was really promoted by. It might have been produced by MTV. But the thing I love about that movie more than anything, and of course, R.I.P. Paul Walker, R.I.P. James Vanderbeek, is that John Voight as Coach Kilmer is a top 10 movie villain of all time. And if you
But
got
can he
like,
play?
yeah, Coach Kilmer, that man will take your scholarship to Brown.
Yeah.
He is evil.
Yes, 100% evil. Now, I will tell you, Varsity Blues would not have made my list, okay? Not even a little bit. All right, second. Well, sorry, number 3, because that was number 2. Number 3, Rudy. Now, I will tell you, Rudy Rudiger in this story, when it first came out, we didn't have all the information. I didn't know that this was a truly fictional story, that people didn't love him like that. They didn't lay out the jersey and you know that they take creative liberties, but still, the movie was awesome, and it's like wrestling. Like, it is the less you know, the better. The more you know, it gets a little tougher. So, but even though I still love wrestling to this day, but Rudy, oh my God, one of the best quotes of all time. You're 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, and not a speck of athletic ability. Love it.
I am.
We're on to number 4 now.
Yeah, I'm going with an easy one for number 4. That is the movie version of Friday Night Lights. Permian High School, Billy Bob Thornton, Taylor Kitsch, was probably my favorite character in the TV version. But you do got to give the Billy Bob Thornton, Roy Williams, obviously with the appearance in the Buzz Bissinger adaptation. It's a great movie. Anytime it's on, I will sit through the entire thing. I think there are a lot of better, more entertaining football movies, but this
So
is
why
just
you put
such
this
a
on the
solid.
list?
Because high school football to me is the purest, most important form of football, like that you can put those stories out there. So I think there's more entertaining and better, but I think this one is foundational.
I have a confession to make, Ralph. I have a confession to make. I've never seen this movie.
I've never seen Rudy.
What?
You and I have had an idea for a show for a long time. We've never done it. First time, long time, where I bring you a movie, you bring me a movie. This should be our episode 1.
I like that. Dude, I have not. So, but I did watch the TV show from beginning to end. Every episode, Friday Night Lights, because you told me I needed to watch it. And then sometime during COVID or something like that, I binge watched it. And I was like, why didn't I watch this when it was on television?
Who's your quarterback? Who's your quarterback? You got and I'm talking fully healthy, pre-paralyzation. Do you go with Street?
Yeah, of course.
Or do you over Michael B. Jordan? You don't like runners. You don't like Vince?
Okay, so if Street never gets hurt, then we don't even get a chance to experience Michael B. Jordan. He's Tom Brady essentially. So I
Michael,
would be stuck with
if
a great Drew Bledsoe until until something happens.
Michael B. Jordan would have been after, definitely after the graduation of Street, but I don't know if Coach Taylor moves schools to
Yeah.
coach
See,
on the East Side. But all right, what is your number 5?
my number 5. See, I got so stuck here, but it's okay. I love this movie. Goldie Hawn is in this movie.
Oh my God.
Wildcats.
I know exactly.
Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. What? And you had Wesley Snipes in the movie too. I love the movie Wildcats. It is 100% an underrated football movie. It's got comedy, it's got some drama, and it's a high school movie just like you like. It's pure.
Yeah,
Unstepped on.
I can't complain about a movie with Goldie Hawn as a football coach because one of my favorite basketball movies of all time is Eddie, and it's probably the movie I've seen more than any other movie. So
Eddie
is for me. God. I don't care. Anybody in the world can criticize that movie. I grew up in the Arizona heat in the summer. I went to that movie to get out of the heat. I've seen it twice in one day before in the theater, just because I loved basketball as a kid. And I got to see, I mean, who knew Greg Ostertag would be a movie star? Like that movie had everybody in it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that movie. So I'm not going to complain about yours, but you obviously are going to complain about mine. Number 6. This movie changed my life.
Ooh. Okay.
Not in a consequential way, but I have never in my life picked up a roll of toilet paper without playing catch. Little Giants, Ed O'Neill, Rick Moranis. Toilet paper is for what it's for, but it is also a football. Toilet paper is a football.
That's what you got from Little Giants?
I got a lot from Little Giants. People
you don't remember the pull-ups with like Icebox and dude, Icebox is one of the all-time favorite characters, and I have never forgotten the most valuable play on Little Giants, the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, mind you, people, we did not talk about this list. I know these things from the top of my brain. Like, these movies were fundamentally etched in. I've seen Little Giants. Me and my 2 sisters have watched that movie so many times. That and Cool Runnings are probably the 2 movies that we watched the most growing up.
Those 2 movies, all-time good guys. Ed O'Neill, John Candy, and Rick Moranis. Yeah. Man, I love Rick Moranis.
Yep. All right. Number 7 on the list. Okay, so I'm happy that you took Little Giants because I was going to put that on the list. Next one, I don't know how many people have seen this movie, but it's Necessary Roughness.
Okay.
I love Necessary Roughness. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Don't throw it to Stone Hands. Featherstone, dude, I know that I'm going to get a lot of flack because there is one, I pray to God that you get this on the list because you've already ruined the list with Friday Night with Friday Night Lights. Or no, I'm sorry, with the Varsity Blues. So hopefully you get one of these 2 in there.
My next one, which I guess would be number 8, is The Replacements.
Oh my! Are you talking with Keanu Reeves?
With Keanu Reeves and Gene
and the
Hackman,
kicker smoking a cigarette.
And the kicker smoking a cigarette. The jailhouse, "I Will Survive" scene is beautiful. I actually had I was debating this and another just nonsense football movie with a very, very famous actor as a head coach, and I'm curious to see if that's on your list, because that also has a song in it that's pretty viral.
Ralph, we are gonna get absolutely just berated for this list because think about what's not on the list already. Okay, Brian's song isn't on here
Brian's
yet.
song is sad.
Yes,
Who
and
enjoyed? I'm gonna put that on a list of movies I liked.
yes, because it's a great movie, but you can't watch that movie too many times. It's too heartbreaking. Any Given Sunday is not on this list yet.
Well,
The
that was the one I was
Program
just
is not on
referring
this
to.
list.
I was just referring to Any Given Sunday. Willie Beeman.
Yes, Jerry Maguire's not on the list yet. The Last Boy Scout is not on the list yet.
Is Jerry Maguire a football movie?
Of course, it's a love story. It's. But for my last pick, gonna have to go with Any Given Sunday. It's got to go on the list. Number 9, it has to be on the list. Like, how can you have a football movie without Willie Beeman? The ladies, I leave them screaming.
Al Pacino being a head coach is I need it. I need it in real life.
Yeah.
All right. So last one up. You brought it up. This is the one that I referenced when I said it might break your rules, and that is Jerry Maguire. And why? I'm a Sun Devil, George.
Oh my God. Okay. See, you pick movies based upon, and I'm not mad at your criteria because you're like, these deeply impacted me, and I stay true to my roots. So I'm not mad at that. It would be like if we went greatest football TV shows, and then I put all American on there because it was created by Spencer Pasinger.
Or if
I
it was
get it.
just sports movies in general, and you're like Prefontaine.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, you know what? I actually relate to that movie more than the fact that he was an Arizona Cardinal and an Arizona State Sun Devil. In the house I grew up in, there was always a line of ants on the wall, like always. We always had ants.
because it's hot outside. That's why. All right.
Okay,
So
what got left off the list that disappoints you?
Draft Day,
There's a lot of debate on whether or not that's a good movie.
because
I
it's not
enjoyed it.
really a football movie; it's a football business of football movie. Because you don't
Vontae
really
Mack, no
see
matter
too
what.
much football in the movie. It's
Yeah,
about
but
football, but it's not a football movie.
Vontae Mack, no matter what. R.I.P.
Yep.
Chadwick Boseman. School Ties was another one I was debating, but that is very much not a football movie.
Yeah, no,
But it's a great movie.
yes. So, Brian's song we didn't put on the list, but there's specific reason because it's a very good movie. But at the same time, it was just, oh my God, it's about, if you haven't watched it, it's about the relationship between Gale Sayers and his teammate that died from cancer. There's race stuff in there, everything. It's just a good story about, people. The Express. I like The Express. That's not on there, about Syracuse football. The Longest Yard.
Yeah, I liked it.
Heaven Can Wait. The Last Boy.
Oh, go ahead.
The Last Boy Scout, where they pull out a gun in the middle of a game, which is crazy. And The Program. I think those are the biggest ones that didn't get on the list.
What is to you the worst football movie ever made?
Worst? God,
Yes.
I don't
We
know.
also we didn't do We Are Marshall. We didn't do the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon. We didn't do Invincible.
Invincible. Invincible was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And We Are Marshall. We Are Marshall. I remember when that plane crash happened. Bro, it's kind of like Brian's song. How many times can you watch We Are Marshall? You need to go to therapy if you're watching that movie multiple times.
I got two movies for you. I would put this in the didn't hold up well category, but is Forrest Gump a football movie?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
No.
And here's a movie that definitely is a football movie, but again, I don't love it now. Radio.
Radio is a football movie. I mean, it's a special needs movie, but it's a football movie technically.
The worst football movie ever made is Air Bud Golden Receiver. I will not be taking questions.
Why would anybody watch that? That's over 8. But anyway, so guys, that is our top 10. Leave your top 10 in the comments. Your top 10 football movies of all time. And hope y'all enjoy it. I'm George Wrighster. He's Ralph Amsden. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, get notifications. Tell a friend about the show. Peace out.